Because if ultimately it makes me a better disciple, a better husband, a better father, a better servant in the community, a better employee, great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I'm not caught up in how I get there. I'm not worried about it being my credit or my doing or my garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Have I had those moments? Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Will I fall into that trap again? I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Will I try to avoid it? Yeah, I will. Because the reality is who I am today is a culmination of all the different experiences and all the different people. I mean, the reason that I am a person that is coachable and is into learning and growing, I mean, comes from the manager at Arby's when I got hired there almost 20 years ago now. I'm not at Arby's anymore.
No.
But it was a great experience. It unlocked a new level for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this isn't even a spiritual, this isn't a Christ centered, this is just me walking through life, having somebody speak truth into, hey, you could do more.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you could push yourself. You can learn things. You can grow. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Turns out I didn't hate learning in school. I just hated learning about stuff I don't care about and has no application to my life. Just simple facts. And English, really stupid language. So many wheres and there's and I
Yep.
before E.
My wife and I were talking about school a little bit the other day on the way home, and I asked her, I'm just curious because I've changed my opinion a little bit. What is school for you? What does that mean? And she gave her definition, and I went, okay. And the conversation went back and forth a little bit, and then well, what's my definition? And my definition of school is structure and certification.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's structure and certification. I am going to a place that is telling you that I did a thing so that you can more easily trust that hiring me is not a mistake. And so we go to school and work hard in order to go to another school and work hard in order to get a certification that says we know how to operate in the world. And in some cases, it's not even a good certification.
Or applicable to the field you're in.
Correct. But it doesn't necessarily need to be because this is the thing, right? If you go to a school that everyone knows the name of, it is very possible that the degree you got doesn't matter as much as, hey, yeah, I was able to go along with the rules. I was able to follow instructions. I was able to pass the intelligence test required to get through this program and the hard work test enough to get through this program. And so now that I've passed those, you can be reasonably confident that I have the potential to be successful in this job. Right? That's kind of my view of college these days too, is that you have jobs that really need high quality education and degrees, right? Doctor, lawyer, really good, powerful examples, right? You have lots of degrees whose actual degree will only help you in teaching somebody else that degree in terms of the workforce. But they give you tons of breadth of understanding, right? I love it when somebody has a psychology degree, but hasn't pursued their master's or their PhD, because they showed specific interest in the human mind and how it behaves and how it interacts, right? But for them, that degree isn't getting them a job in the field, right? A four-year psychology degree gets you nothing. You pretty much need to have a master's degree or a PhD in psychology in order to get a good job doing that. Just FYI. So why do people do it? Well, people do it because it's really interesting and it can change the way you interact with people in the world, right? Philosophy. Everyone who goes into philosophy knows that philosophy is not really an endpoint, right? Philosophy is only an endpoint for people who teach or popularize philosophy.
It's an interesting philosophy.
History. People go into history, love history. It's a wonderful, great thing to do. But the number of jobs in history is not anywhere close to the number of people who complete their history degrees, right? But a historian can be a great person to work for you, work with you, to be a friend, somebody who has shown that they have a lot of interest in what's come before and recognizes, what a weird way to say that, recognizes that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And yes, sometimes we have to pay attention to what's going on around us because we know that we're up for another fourth turning, getting dark for a second. So, yeah. Okay. I took us off on a weird tangent about education, but yeah, I am kind of intrigued. We're trying to set our kids up for success and try to figure out what that means. Saddling them with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in debt for a degree that doesn't pay isn't necessarily the right thing. I think that many millennials have figured that out the hard way in a really brutal way. Because I worked with a guy who went to Columbia, and he finished his degree at Columbia, and then he was working just above minimum wage with me at a mall.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely drowning. And when I found out, I felt for him, prayed for him some. Not gonna say his name. So I don't know.
But you could, and with that, I mean, you could easily insert thousands of names because he's just one of many that have pursued this dream. And it's not that there isn't. I think the problem that I have when you look at that is that there's still value in education systems, and there's value in going to schools.
Right.
But I think what's happened over time is it's been misconstrued on what that value actually is and what that value gets you.
Yeah.
Well,
we're way off topic here. Yeah. But this is a fun one.
Yeah, it's okay. Because it's almost like they go to college and they leave and they think, oh, I've got the golden ticket to go into anywhere in Beverly Hills that I'd like to go. I could go down to Rodeo and buy anything I want.
Right.
And the reality is this thing gets you into the thrift store. Mm. And if you work hard, you can work your way up from there. But somewhere along the way, you thought that this thing gets you into the top of the most elite things. And that's just not reality. Mm-hmm. But it's been built that way. It's been built up that way. And I don't, especially young kids, teens, and then adults, I don't fault them for falling victim to it. Because how else would you know? Mm-hmm. But it's all those that come before, all those of us that are helping encourage and guide them on their paths, that we're the ones that are actually failing them. Like at a certain point, you have to recognize and you have to grow and change on your own. Absolutely. Like personal accountability and growing at some point. But especially in the young formative years, that comes more down to teachers, counselors, parents, pastors, family members. What are they? I remember the Dave Ramsey podcast, listening to that. And he's a big advocate for not going into massive debt to go to school.
Correct.
He's not saying don't go to school. I mean, if it fits what you want to do and there's a benefit, sure. Cash flow it and go do it. Don't go into mountains of debt. Mm-hmm. But he talked about driving past the school, and on their reader board outside the school, it said 100% college placement of the graduating class.
Mm-hmm.
And that, he said it just broke him
Mm-hmm.
because the odds of every single kid in a graduating class, I don't care if you went to school of 25 or 2000,
Yeah.
the odds of everybody being cut from the same cloth that makes sense to go to college and get a job that where that's going to actually serve them, suit them, and be the best place to use their skills and put them ahead. I mean, I think you got a better chance of winning the lottery twice. I mean, realistically, I mean, so many people are built for trades or built for not even going into the workforce and going more into like missions or
Well, just leaving aside what people are built for, just saying what can the market bear, right? And so actually, I just looked this up because I wanted to remind myself where this came from. But Peter Turchin has a theory called elite overproduction. And elite overproduction is when you create too many people that are supposed to be the managerial class or the aristocracy or whatever the case is, right? So the path to the managerial class 40 years ago was you get a good education. Once you get a good education, you have earned the right to lead others, right? Well, now we are sending so many people to the universities, right? And we're sending them subsidized by the taxpayer, which I'm not condemning by itself, but we're sending them subsidized by the taxpayer, but not paid for by the taxpayer. And so they are saddled with debt. And it's unforgivable debt. It is not bankruptable debt. The school always gets paid, and the government gets paid if the government issues you that debt, because they will just graft your wages until they get their money back. And someone could say, well, just forgive the loans, but that doesn't fix the problem. The problem is guaranteed money that is flowing into people's pockets and it creating a perverse incentive. And so the pathway to the elite needs to have gates that ensure that only the elite are reaching those gates. Or you end up in this situation where people go down a path that they believe entitles them to rule the society, right? I went and I got my English lit degree, and now I should be, making top 10% wages because I went to college. It's a falsehood. It's a lie. It's a lie. And there are people who will say, David, no one believes that. Good. But there are people who believe it. They're all over. There are people who feel like they were tricked, who feel like they were misled. There are people who are creating their own degrees as a mismatch of classes that they liked. And sure, you're getting your degree, you have your certification, right? I'm using that word loosely. You have your certification. I graduated from this school in a degree that I created on my own out of classes I liked that has question mark value. And now I'm going to use that to justify why somebody else should hire me. Because degrees are to get somebody else to hire you. You don't need a degree to be an entrepreneur. Lots and lots of entrepreneurs have shown that over and over and over, right?
you don't have to graduate high school.
Correct. Correct. So, I love the A students work for B students who work for C students. That is actually pretty true, because a lot of the people that have enough gumption to be entrepreneurs don't like working within the system and they don't do well in school. For the record, for the cameras, I was an A student, and I'm saying that slightly dismissively of myself.
So
Yeah.
if there's any B or C students out there that are looking to hire somebody,
Hey.
I kid.
No, I mean, I think that this is really true though, because the people who are the most compliant that are successful
Yeah.
in school, because they're the most compliant and they're intelligent and they work hard and all, but they're compliant, right? That is what the school is oriented around. How can we knock individuality out of people, put them on this path of achievement, and get them to follow that path all the way to the end? That is what school is. And so if you're getting A's, that's great. I'm not knocking it. Go learn as much as you can, work hard. I encourage my own kids to work hard and put effort into their education. And if they got some B's because they were willful, I wouldn't be upset.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So elite overproduction, it's a really interesting concept. And one of the ways that I kind of judge ideas like this is you look back at, does this have explanatory power in the past? Yes. Does elite overproduction in the past cause problems in society, let's say? Because I don't know if you're going to cut this section, and I want it to be friendly for the different platforms on which you may put it. Yes. Yes. If you have too large of a section of people that think that they have the right to rule, quote unquote, right? That they have the right to be the manager, they have the right to be in charge. They have justified their position, and they've been promised something that won't be delivered. Then that creates some negative problems for your society.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think as you're sharing that, one of the things that I think about, just as a well, living here in America especially, but just globally, I think it is something that affects more than just America, especially when it comes to being a first world problem. But when you look at Japan, in Japan, culturally, most of them take immense pride in whatever job they have, whether it's picking up trash, scrubbing toilets, or running a bank. Whatever their job is, they take immense pride in that and do it to the best of their ability. And I think that, to me, is more than any of those other factors and things. I think that's the biggest thing that I see lacking in America and the way we've created our workforce and our society to all these positions. And I think it's what keeps people from going into fields or places that they would actually be great at, would excel at, would find great fulfillment in, but because it's a looked down upon job, they won't do it. And then it leads to a whole unbalance of, like you said, where you have all these bosses and nobody working the jobs for the bosses, or there's spite between them because the bosses don't know a darn thing they're talking about. And it's so unfortunate that there's just a lack of pride in just whatever you do. Like I worked at Arby's. Yes, I was a manager, but I mean, I was working in fast food, but I still had pride in myself and what I did. I did the best job I could at it. Is it the most glamorous job out there? No. But did I do the best I could to make people's day and show up and serve? Absolutely. And I'm not going to go back to my high school days because I probably screwed off a little bit more back then than I should have. I still had fun.
well, there's a pride in work, doing the best job you can and creating an environment where you want to be and that your coworkers want to be. And yeah, this is why, sometimes, one of the things I talk about is laughs, finding opportunity for a little bit of happiness here and there. where you can, keeping things light at work, especially if you're dealing with dark, difficult things or big, heavy decisions, right? Figuring out where you can bring a little bit of levity to the situation because, life is hard enough without taking it too seriously. So
Absolutely.
you mentioned Japan, and at the risk of spreading something that's not quite accurate, I want to tell you there's another interesting dynamic in Japan, where if your work has decided that they don't really like you, what they do is they stop giving you work. And so you're expected to show up on time and sit there, but they stop inviting you to meetings. They stop giving you work to do. And this is so shameful that people recognize, oh, I have lost status. I'm no longer useful. I quit. Right? And I just think, man, in Japan, something like that could work. But there are so many cultures where it's, oh, I'm showing up and I don't have to do any work and you still pay me?
Cool.
All right. So
Can I get extra hours?
One of the comments underneath this was, let me see. I want to be a little careful. One of the comments under this was, if 10% of the workforce in Japan was Italians, this system would completely fall apart. And I just had to laugh. It was an Italian-looking name. I don't know if this was an Italian person or if somebody dunking on Italians.
Yeah,
It's
but
not very
let's be
nice.
honest. I mean, most
It's not
first
very
world
nice.
countries in the world now, you could insert,
Yeah.
and they would.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that works for a lot of Americans, right? Because a lot of Americans are going to do one of two things, right? One, they're going to keep collecting the paycheck and show up, right? Or two, they're going to go, I don't have a lot of work to do. I'm going to get another job. And they're going to work two jobs at the same time.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen these work from home crazy people that get three jobs at the same time and they just split time during the day. They're always available, right? And they're working from home doing 40 to 60 hours a week of work, but they have three different jobs, sometimes with, sometimes competing companies.
That's the one that's.
And yeah, that's interesting, man.
Well,
Yeah.
the AI revolution is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of those that shows how much productivity you're producing. And if you're not adding value to the market, it's only a matter of time. And I think that's one of the powerful things, circling all the way back or down to, the shift in the career and the fact that one of the things that was talked about when speaking to the owners of the company as we were having the conversation, if we were going to give this a go again. And the thing that was shared was the biggest thing that they saw, not the numbers I produced, not how many customers I served, it wasn't those things. Like that part, I don't want to dismiss it, but the way I'm wired, I mean, I'm going to do that either way. And you could insert a lot of people and they could deliver similar results. But the thing that they said was the difference was the energy and the way I show up. That was actually like the thing that they felt I brought to the team and why it made sense for us to. And I can say that the environment that's created where I'm at allows me to be me. It allows me to bring that energy. It's encouraged for me to do that. I don't want to say that it's something that's like a role that's built for me, but it kind of feels like it's a role that's built for me. It's show up and be you, because being you is the experience that we want our people to have.
Yeah.
Because it's about the human to human interaction. I love people. I love serving people. I love hearing their stories. I love when I have opportunities to pray for people, or when I get to learn about accomplishments, or get to talk to a Vietnam vet that doesn't even like to talk about it because obviously things, and get to recognize them. And then, I'll thank them for their service. And it's always interesting to see the different shifts in how different people, because me being a veteran myself, I lead with, when I find out they're a veteran, I lead with thanking them. And then will add in my service as needed afterwards. Because there's honestly times where I feel that in that situation, the best thing to do is actually just honor them and appreciate them for what they did.
Yeah.
And no light needs to be shined on me. And I just want to recognize them.
Yeah. Hey,
And-
thank you for your service.
No, thanks. And other times it's, I want them to know that I'm a brother in arms and that I appreciate them.